I think I know someone who needs to hear this. It's you. Yeah, you. Welcome back. I have really dedicated myself to my journey. Loving yourself is no easy feat. I want to share with women and teach women how to love themselves. I definitely want this to resonate with all women. It takes a lot of perseverance. People may not know just by looking. I've had to leave behind friends. I've had to vacate relationships with family, basically go into a secluded version of myself, isolation. Life is going to be life. My experience, I'm choosing to show up and to converse and to be present because that is truly what it's all about. I really just live life the way that I see fit on my terms. That's the message that I really want to relay to other women is that, it's not about tearing each other down. It's who's better than the other. We can love each other from afar. And that's a big thing that women need to focus. I don't have to tear you down to bring myself up. I can just be myself. I can just give you your space. I can just be on my journey. I can just get out of your way and you can stay out of my way. I just see so much within women where it's so hard for us to just simply all exist. We all exist. There's just nothing that can be done about that. I'm here to share things that have gone on in my life and how I've overcame them and to let you guys get to know me a little bit better because I'm an extremely private person. It's important to find your tribe of individuals who can coexist with you, whether that be the masculine or the feminine. I have a beautiful 15-year-old son and he is my world. I have had to find out who I am, how I exist in this world outside of being my son's mother. A lot of times as women, we cling to our identity out of our work, how we exist in our families, how we exist in our friend groups, and we don't know how to simply just exist outside of those titles. Lately, I've been teaching myself, how do you exist outside of motherhood? How do you exist outside of best friend? How do you exist outside of saving the world? I am classically trained flutist. I sing, I write. I hate using the word rap because it feels so cliche. I journal, I meditate, I read. I am a religious person. I am a spiritual person. I have duality to me. I have gone through that dark night of the soul. As a woman of color, there's just this persona that you're supposed to have. There's this persona of like who I'm supposed to be. Growing up, I didn't really fit in with anybody. Over time and as the years have passed by, I've realized that, I am just an individual. Throughout my life, in all of the transitions and all of the things that I've explored and all of the different versions of myself, been able to look back on previous relationships, past friendships, current, and really see who I have been and how I've existed amongst people with different nature, how I've existed alone in different spaces, how I've transitioned in between spaces, and how I've come to be who I am today. It took for God to strip me of everything I've ever known or thought I was, to submit and surrender to being a godly woman and allowing the Holy Spirit to really fill my body so that I can walk with Christ, Yeshua, Yahweh, and find my way. It's been very, very, very humbling. It's been very hard. What can I say? It takes a lot of obedience to get here. It takes a lot of disengaging. It takes a lot of patience. Just being more rooted and stable in who I have become outside things so that when I hit this next level, I can be rooted in who I am and I never really feel like I lose myself. I've lost myself so many times trying to fit in spaces that were too confining for my being. And with me having to shed those spaces and those people and that time frame and all the things that existed that just were not fitting for me, I've learned simply to exist in my own being. And it's so important for women to do that. As women, we associate ourselves so much with the outside that we forget that we can just go in. And when you go in, you open up. Do you get that? Hear me out. You learn so much more about yourself when you take time by yourself, to yourself, when you enrich your mind. If you're not in college, what are you teaching yourself every day? If you don't have a curriculum that you have to follow, what are you learning every day? A lot of people forget that just because you're not in school, just because you're not taking a class, doesn't mean you don't teach yourself. And that's something that I really pride myself in doing, because I consistently teach myself something new all the time. I consistently teach myself something new all the time. I don't wait for someone to, come in and say, "Oh, Alo, it's time to learn." No, that's not how life works for me. For me, I am my own teacher. I'm my greatest teacher. And if I'm clear, I can hear the messages that spirit is trying to give me. So it makes it a lot easier for me to listen. It makes it a lot easier for me to learn. And unlearning the doctrine and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just the old ways of thinking that I was brought up on. Coming up, I was shamed a lot, like in my childhood, and I don't shame my parents anymore. That's a wound that I've had to heal for the way that they raised me. I really just have to always remind myself that they did the best that they could with what they had. Anyone that feels comfortable coming into this room with me, in these spaces that I'm enjoying sharing, so that we can get to know one another, unravel, peel back, figure out what it is you want. Figure out who you are. Figure out what's really deep under those layers and learn how to process. I graduated from the Art Institute of Atlanta in 22, and I have my bachelor's in audio production, so I'm actually an engineer. Funny thing, I make music, I create music. I don't produce, I like to, but I haven't delved deep in that yet. I mainly stick to mixing and mastering, and I write my own music, create my own music, but I typically go find producers and use their beats. It seems like right after I graduated, I'd gotten a corporate job in my field, and it didn't work out. It was very disappointing. I felt like that was my moment, and I was so disappointed that job didn't work out. I literally almost lost it. But at that moment was one of those moments where I realized, like, I went to school to get this skill set and to perfect this craft, and there's no company that can take that away from me, because I have knowledge. On top of my know-how, I took my talent, my passion, and turned it into a skill. I have my 10,000 hours. So my bachelor's degree took me a while to get, because I moved to Atlanta when I was 23, and I was a single mom. I knew my hometown wasn't for me. There was nothing there for me. I had outgrown all the people that I was around. So I moved to Atlanta at a very heightened time. Atlanta was so much fun when I got down here. I got down here when Waka Flocka was big. So the parties, I'm talking about, you walk in a party, you about to hear Tip, you've been in here Waka, you about to hear Travis Porter. Travis Porter was so big when I moved to Atlanta. Those days were wild. But that's a whole nother subject. I have really cultivated who I am to get to where I am, and I'm proud of who I am and where I am. I know that just because things may look one way, they may not be that way, but I'm here to let you know that you can be whatever you desire, whatever you see fit, whatever your heart truly desires. You can meet those standards. You can be that woman, you can be that person, you can be that individual, outside of family, outside of children, outside of friends, outside of loved ones, outside of people that have known you for years. You're still an individual. You were sent here with a purpose. God gives us all a purpose that is individual to our own being. It's important that you take time to find that. When you do not take time for yourself, you will feel the lower vibrational feelings of anger, frustration, resentment. It causes you to lash out for no reason, because guess who didn't take time for themselves? I'm so big on self-care, because if you do not take time for yourself, then you will regret and resent other people, and that just stays in your body, and it's really not healthy. Hopefully you guys feel comfortable here. Getting to know each other should be really fun. If you guys have any questions, feel free to write me. I'm definitely gotten to a place where I'm an open person. I'm not an open book, but I've gotten a lot more comfortable in myself and who I am, and I'm willing to share my stories. But today I wanted to get online and just be open about who I am and what's currently going on in my life. I went through 5 years of therapy. So I started therapy, 6 years of therapy. I started therapy in 2017 and I went to therapy all the way until 23, consistently at least twice a month. Going to therapy taught me how to deal with life situations. In no way, shape, or form am I a therapist. This is not a substitute for therapy. I'm not telling you that I can give you medical help. What I'm telling you is that I can share my experience of what I've gone through with you. And if you may find light at the end of my tunnel, I gladly would share that with you, because when I was younger, I used to think that, oh, I got to figure it out on my own. Well, guess what? If you can save years, save years. Do not waste your good years. Do not waste your 20s being stupid. Do not waste your 20s on people that aren't going to be there in your 30s. And if you can learn that lesson in 9 months instead of 9 years, use my experience, because there's a lot of times where there's so many things I could have learned from other people's experience, or just someone telling me, hey, Alo, don't do this. Or, hey, Alo, this is my experience with it. But I was so bullheaded at a time where I was just like, see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna learn this on my own because it's my life. And that's just, it's very like time consuming. And at this age that I'm at now, I realize like time is like gold. You can't get it back. There's nothing you could do to get it back. Once it's gone, it's over. You're not getting that time back. You're not getting that time back. So, a word from the wise. When someone's trying to share their life story with you, receive it. Say, I receive it. If you feel like it's viable, valuable information, say, I receive it, because that's the universe. That's God. That's the Holy Spirit trying to guide you and order your steps. Don't be stubborn. Don't feel like you got it under control and you just, no. There's women out here that would kill for youth. You hear me? And there's women out here that have gone through their youth and they're happy with where they're at. So, like I said, two things can be true. There's two sides to every coin. Take it how you may. I'm going to wrap it up and leave it there. You guys should come see me more often. It's been a pleasure. Till next time.